Today is the day. Holy smokes, totes, my goats. Pierre Poilievre back in the house with Mark Carney, and it goes probably just how you can expect. Pierre does what he does best. Mark Carney does what he does worst, and the rest is history. But if you're looking for that footage, it's going to be towards the end of the video. I do want to front load this video with some Charlie Kirk updates about things happening here in Canada and just some overall Canadian news about things happening here in Canada. But before we get into it, I do want to encourage you guys to click the link down below in the description to the House of Canada YouTube channel. Go and subscribe to that YouTube channel. This is right before I went live on House of Canada, and there's over 100, 200 people waiting. It's an awesome community. So if you want to watch every single question period that happens or just the occasional one, highly recommend you guys go check out that video. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's video, starting off with this clip right here, or this piece of news that a 12-year-old and a 20-year-old Isaiah Byers have been arrested in downtown Toronto for allegedly the killing of a 62-year-old man and a robbery spree. You heard that correctly, a 12 and 20-year-old. That's the state of Canada. Also, I didn't realize that this post was going to go viral when I made it the other day, that Mark Carney's new affordable housing plan is costing Canadians $13 billion for his announced 4,000 homes, which brings the total cost to build each home to $3,250,000, which is incredible. Incredibly expensive, and it's got almost 250,000 views, which is getting out of control, to say the least. Then you've got CBC, of course, our state-funded media, which has this to say about Charlie Kirk.
Propagate hatred against some people or communities, and you know, if you think about some of what Charlie Kirk had to say, he did have hateful things to say about groups of people, and he did encourage even violence against groups of people.
It's always in the eyes. You can always see it in their eyes, eh? No. Charlie Kirk did not incentivize violence for any groups of people, and he's not the only Canadian person to be, pushing this type of agenda or rhetoric. You also have this chick right here, Elizabeth May, the only Green Party member in the entire country.
My question about political violence, are you concerned given what we're seeing in the U.S. right now?
I'm very concerned to see anyone murdered, anywhere, regardless of their views. It's a tragedy. I hope very much, and I actually don't think it will spread to Canada. We've seen an increase in hostility, harassment, and nasty commentary on social media, but I think we need to denounce violence in any form, anywhere. And the fact that it spreads more in the U.S. has more to do with their weak gun laws than any.
Nope. No, it does not. Literally a 12-year-old and a 20-year-old murdered somebody, apparently, and they went on a robbery spree. But, of course, Elizabeth May doesn't like to resort to facts. It's always feelings over facts. Weak gun laws, this and that. It's just horrible. Absolutely horrible. The political violence and the hatred isn't contained by borders, okay? You're going to see right now, this was at a vigil in Maple Ridge where mean protesters, counter-protesters, were basically calling people a bunch of Nazis.
No hate, no fear!
Fascists are not welcome here!
No hate, no fear!
Fascists are not welcome here!
No hate, no fear!
Fascists are not welcome here!
No hate, no fear!
Fascists are not welcome here!
No hate, no fear!
Fascists are not welcome here!
So there you go. That's obviously a response to Charlie Kirk and people that were mourning Charlie Kirk. But that's just the bad news. The good news is that a lot of people who went to a vigil in Calgary for Charlie Kirk were very peaceful, and it was a very emotional experience. So I can't play the music, but you can see here, everyone is just so peaceful and just so loving. Lots of American flags, Canadian flags. I mean, just an incredible thing to see this many Canadians coming together and mourning Charlie Kirk.
Will not be silenced.
Right, we will not be silenced is what was said right there. So yeah, there's good stuff happening in Canada. There's bad stuff happening in Canada. And I kind of want to know what you guys think about this. Have you had any personal experiences so far with toxic people that are just mocking and celebrating Charlie Kirk's death? Let me know down below, because this is like a pretty big thing. This is ending friendships that are decades and decades long. Like, just the celebration of such an atrocious act is causing a bigger divide than what we could have hoped. Anyways, moving on to some other news here. You've got Vashi Kapelos from CTV, who's finally waking up to the fact that the Liberals are kind of corrupt, man. The fact that now they're saying their budget is going to be in November is kind of weird.
Became so used to this agreement that existed between the NDP and the Liberals, right, which kind of, in a way, felt like it gave the Liberals a de facto majority. There wasn't that drama that is inherent to most minority governments. Well, that comes back in this iteration because there is no formalized dance party for the Liberals. And in fact, the NDP and the Bloc have become, I would say, more frigid towards supporting the, any idea of supporting the Liberals for their own reasons. But now it appears that they will have to rely on the Conservatives to pass some of the big parts of their legislative agenda, which again is a brand new dynamic because in the last number of years, you never saw the Liberals and the Conservatives working together to advance major pieces of legislation really outside of COVID.
And Vashi, before you go, can you give us more thoughts around the budget? I feel like the Prime Minister is going to be asked, why November? Why is it going to take so long?
Well, Marcia, I wish I could. It is almost impossible to get any substantive answers from anyone. I'll be fair to any government and say usually they reserve the details for the actual budget, but they have done a lot of groundwork to try and get a narrative out there, right? It's going to be austere, but also full of investment. It's going to cut spending, but not cut any public service jobs. Like, quite simply, and I keep saying this, I'm kind of a broken record, I don't understand how the math adds up at this juncture. I know it's a politically very important document for them, but as far as like if they will actually exercise the kind of fiscal restraint that the Prime Minister has promised, but at the same time maintain all of the program spending that they also promised they would, and increase spending on defense and on housing and whatever else they decide to invest on. I mean, it's going to be fascinating to see the way in which that happens. And as far as the date goes, it's a reflection of the complexity behind the scenes and the push and pull about how much they cut. On Friday, I was getting text messages from staffers saying, oh, even though the finance minister had promised the budget would come in October, it now looks like it might be pushed out to the first week of November. The government's House leader still said October, but like that's what I'm hearing behind the scenes. It's proving to be the furthest thing from simple.
She's finally waking up. Oh my goodness, she's finally waking up. And speaking of the government House leader, this is what he had to say this morning.
Session, we'll see the return of Mr. Poilievre. From what he's been saying, the lyrics might have changed, but the music stays the same. 3-word slogans so far and a lot of angry rhetoric. For my part, as leader of the government in the House, I'll work hard to get things done in Parliament. Last week, the Liberal caucus met in Edmonton. All of us, Prime Minister Carney, every member of the cabinet and every member of the Liberal caucus agreed that our first priority going forward is to work for Canadians. Here on Parliament Hill, we're committed to moving forward with bills on a wide range of fronts. In the coming days and weeks, we'll propose and debate important legislation that was introduced in the spring sitting. This includes Bill C2, which extends, Bill C3, which extends citizenship by descent to people in a way that is inclusive and protects the value of Canadian citizenship. Bill C2, which will keep Canadians safe by ensuring law enforcement has the tools to keep our borders secure, and importantly, enhances the fairness and the efficiency of our immigration system. Bill C4, which delivers the middle-class tax cut to provide tax relief to millions of Canadians, and which eliminates or reduces the GST on many new homes for first-time home buyers. And Bill C8, which protects Canadians and bolsters cybersecurity across the financial, telecommunications, energy, and transportation sectors. Now that's just a start. D'autres projets de loi.
Oh my goodness. Spending. Holy crap, man. And then a reporter asked him this question, and this was his answer.
Canadians who were voting for you and Mr. Carney, who said that he will take care of the economy, and now you are clearly prepared preparing the groundwork for a substantial deficit and austerity, things that Canadians may not have voted for last spring.
Oh, I think we were very realistic. I mean, Canadians certainly had the full financial picture for the previous fiscal year. They know what we're facing. We've been very, very clear about the investments that we intend to make, and I would challenge the premise of your question. We are dealing head-on with the major issues in our economy, whether it's diversifying trade, whether it's...
what you're telling Canadians, austerity, that is not anything that we had heard in the campaign, and these substantial deficits, not what we heard in the campaign.
We talked about spending less and investing more, and that's exactly what we continue to talk about. The Canadians expect their tax dollars to be spent by the government with maximum impact, and maximum impact today means combating crime, means building houses, means diversifying our trade and growing the economy so that young people can find a place to prosper in Canada.
Oh my goodness. Oh, these people are just so weird. They're not saving anything. They're spending billions of dollars unchecked, unjustified, undebated. Oh my goodness. But all of that accountability starts today. In fact, it starts in the next few seconds when we're going to take a look at Pierre Poilievre going up against Mark Carney and debating. This is probably what you've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Hello.
Freedom of speech is the cornerstone of a free society. It means we will hear ideas that we disagree with and express views that may be offensive. This freedom can make us uncomfortable or even hurt, but silencing voices, whether for a moment or forever, is never the answer. We must protect a society where people can hold beliefs and share opinions without fear of losing their jobs, being censored, or worse. Charlie Kirk was an outspoken advocate for faith, family, and freedom. Many disagreed with him, some were offended. Tragically, on September 10th, he was assassinated in an attempt to silence his voice. But when has political violence ever been the solution? It destroys dialogue, it undermines democracy, and it breeds fear instead of understanding. True progress comes from persuasion, not intimidation. As we grapple with our personal response to this, may we be honorable in our actions. May we fiercely defend the right of our opponents to speak freely. And may we join our hearts with Charlie's family, his wife Erica, and his 2 young children.
Thank you. Maybe the Liberals had to be told to stand up. They're not even all standing up. They're not even all standing up, the Liberals.
Member for Ottawa, Vanier. With extremely important people in East Central Alberta, Mr. Speaker, after which I was honored to be elected by the great people of Battle River, Crowfoot. I thank the great Damien Kirk who made it possible, and I thank the Prime Minister for calling a prompt by-election. I wonder if one day he might regret that decision, but in a spirit of good faith, I wonder if he agrees that our goal should be a Canada where hard work is rewarded, where food and homes are affordable, where streets are safe, where borders are solid, and where we're all united under a proud flag.
Yeah. Well said.
Honorable Prime Minister.
So what we heard, well said.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure I speak for all parliamentarians in welcoming the member for Battle River, Crowfoot, back to the House of Commons.
He's not too happy about this.
He may notice a few things have changed since he was here last. The largest women's caucus in Canadian history.
Oh my God, he's worse than Trudeau, dude. Carney's got a woman to the left and the right.
The spirit of collaboration that was shown in the opening session, including in the passage of the Build Canada Act and the projet de loi du Bloc québécois en ce qui concerne.
And the Bloc's bill in terms of protecting supply management. I agree entirely with the sentiment and objectives of the Leader of the Opposition.
I was deliberately flexible on time because it's a special day, but now we're going to respect the 35-second limit. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. some things never change. Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my constituents of Battlefield Crowfoot, who we had a by-election very quickly, and sometimes the Prime Minister may regret his decision, but I think we all agree with the mission of reestablishing a Canada where hard work, an affordable home and homes and food, in safe streets and solid borders, all united under a proud flag. Does the Prime Minister agree with this?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I agree entirely with the sentiment and objectives that the Leader of the Opposition has just expressed for our great country. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister mentioned how much had changed, and it's true. I look around this place, and when I left, there was a Liberal Prime Minister who was making excuses about breaking promises, running massive deficits, costs, crime, chaos were all out of control. And whereas today, we have a Liberal Prime Minister breaking promises, making excuses, running massive deficits with costs, crime, and chaos out of control. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister match the grand promises with the real change Canadians need?
Now is when you put a W down in the chat for Pierre.
Mr. Speaker, I understand the Minister, or the Minister, promotion. Come on over. I understand the Leader of the Opposition was busy. He missed the largest tax cut for 22 million Canadians. He missed the cut on the GST for new homes. He missed
Carney's such an
eliminating
idiot.
all federal barriers to trade. He missed. I hope I'll have another opportunity to finish a very long list of what the Leader of Opposition.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Dans l'esprit.
In a nonpartisan spirit, we're simply going to insist that the Prime Minister adhere to his own promises. He promised the strongest growth in the G7 for our economy, and now our economy is declining the fastest in the G7. He also promised that food would cost less. It's more, and food inflation is accelerating. He promised a budget in October. And
we're not going to get one until November.
Now we'll see one maybe in November with a double deficit. So, inaudible.
Prime Minister.
Yep, inaudible.
Mr. Speaker, this government has been absolutely focused on improving affordability for Canadians. That's why the largest tax cut, 22 million Canadians, every taxpayer in this country. That's why the cut to the GST. That's why the launch of Build Canada Homes, which will reduce the cost of home building in this country. That's why we back the CRTC to get broadband costs down for Canadians. We are building the strongest economy throughout the worst crisis in our history.
No, you're not.
The Leader of the Opposition.
In the spirit of nonpartisanship, we are simply going to hold this Prime Minister to his own promises. He promised that he would spend less. He's already spending 8% more. He promised the budget would be in October. Now he says it will be in November, more than halfway through the fiscal year. He promised that his government would have a smaller deficit than Justin Trudeau. Instead, now we hear that it might even be double. So a trivia question. Can the Prime Minister tell us, has there ever been a Prime Minister who has successfully doubled the deficit without even introducing a budget?
Oh. Wow. And that's why Pierre's back.
It's a trick question.
It's a trick question, Andrew Scheer yells over.
Mr. Speaker,
he's laughing
this government
at us going bankrupt.
Is undertaking the biggest investment in protecting Canadians in the Canadian military. Doubling our investment in the Canadian military from last year when this member last sat in the House by the end of this decade. This government, there's more.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
There's a lot more debt, is what there is, Mr. Speaker. A lot more debt than we ever imagined would be possible. This is a prime minister who said we'd have the fastest growing economy in the G7. We have the fastest shrinking economy in the G7. He said grocery prices would go down. They're going up faster than ever before. He promised to create jobs. He has the second highest unemployment in the G7. He's really reminding us all of that sign at the bar. Free beer tomorrow. But you come back the next day and the beer is still not free, and tomorrow never comes. Mr. Speaker, why is it that all of this Prime Minister's promises of yesterday turn into today's disappointments?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think if we are going to build the strongest economy in the G7, and we will, we need to be clear. We need to be clear about the scale of the crisis we are in. We need to be clear about the scale of investment that we need. $60 billion in new projects announced last week. $200 billion in investment announced last week. $100 billion in housing investment announced just yesterday. That's the scale of what we need.
Drop some else.
The honourable member
Drop some
from
else.
Champlain.